when we start talking about, and you've been talking about your top 5 today, talent and the ability to score covers a multitude of shortcomings. As much as you and I might get excited about defense, we don't have debates about top 5 defenders, and you can argue whether or not Dorian Finney-Smith, not so much Draymond, because Draymond has been highly touted and appreciated as a defender, Reggie Bullock, you can argue whether or not those guys have gotten their due, and I think part of the reason that the conversation is around Andrew Wiggins' defense last night is because we don't discuss him as a defender often, right? And so the reality of the league is, the guys that make buckets, we're going to figure out everything else. And I will go back to some reporting that Cassidy Hubbard did in the Phoenix series where Jason Kidd talked to Luka about the 2 seconds. Like, we just need you to hold for a short enough amount of time that we can support you defensively as a team.
2 seconds. Just give me 2 seconds.
Just come on, get in that stance. Give it to me.
I'm going to keep it PG. All I'm saying
what?
Monica,
oh, wait a minute,
no.
What is happening?
All I'm going to say,
wait a minute.
Monica, is,
That's not, no. Let's bring it back. Come on, Christine, get it back on track.
I'll bring it back. All I'm saying, though, is but we are talking about defense to a degree in this series, though, right? Because what we've done, the conversation has shifted. We're talking a lot about Jimmy Butler, right? People are saying, hey, he's a top 5 player in the league. I'm not saying he's my top 5 player in the league, but conversations are starting to trend in that direction. And what do you value about Jimmy Butler is that offensively, he's kind of went to a different level that we've seen in years past, right? His stats in the postseason are comparable to Michael Jordan in the single postseason, which is absurd. But what he brings to the table defensively, Jason Tatum, we're now calling him a top 2-way player. So I know what you're saying about we don't factor defense in as much as offense, but it is starting to trend as what kind of player are you on both sides of the court?
Okay, let's stay in the West. We were talking about defense, obviously, and defense was huge for the Warriors. They didn't do anything crazy offensively. Monty, like you mentioned, their 3-pointers. Steph missed his first 5 threes. Klay didn't have any points until the second half. So who is the most important player on the Warriors team right now? Would it be Andrew Wiggins and his defense?
In yesterday's game, sure. He set the tone. But when it comes to this team, it continues to be Steph Curry, and there's no doubt about it. Listen, a missed 5 shots is nothing for the dude that's going to pull up and hit however many from deep. Like, shoot to stay hot and shoot to get hot. And I think beyond the misses, like you can call them just warm-ups, the way that Steph and Klay, Steph in particular, both move opens up everything else. Quiet as is kept, prior to last night's performance, the pool party had turned into a little bit of a kiddie pool, right? And this offensive side of the Warriors' performance, we had some questions. They was throwing the ball all over the place versus Memphis. Draymond pointed out they got beat by 55 points. And while you weren't necessarily alarmed, everybody involved, including folks in Warriors uniforms, would acknowledge that that wasn't necessarily championship basketball. But you get into this series, Steph is moving all over the place. Klay is moving all over the place. Jordan Poole is back in action. And their offense is flowing. The ball isn't sticking. That is signature to what the Warriors do.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would agree that it's Stephen Curry. Do you know, like, it's really interesting, and maybe it's more so, Monica, out of my show on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Every day I have to deal with Max, so there's a little bit of a pet peeve about what happens when I mention the name Stephen Curry, because the conversation always shifts to, well, he doesn't have a finals MVP. I'm like, this man is basically averaging 30 points per game in the Western Conference Finals. 30 points per game. In the NBA Finals, he's averaging 26.5. Last night, Stephen Curry gave me 12 rebounds. 12 rebounds as a smaller guard. So his ability to constantly move, along with buying time for Klay to come alive in the third quarter, when they hit offensively, and that's going to be the challenge for Dallas, right? If Steph and Luka cancel each other out, if Klay comes to the party, along with what Jordan Poole did against Max Kleber, oh my, last night, you talk about Luka being a liability, they targeted Kleber as well, right? All the time, and Jordan Poole had him on skates. This team just has such a high offensive power clip that if they all hit in all cylinders, it's going to be a problem for Dallas the whole series.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.